Right after the summer solstice on June 20th, we rest under a Capricorn full moon on June 21st and 22nd. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you and guiding you through 8 journaling prompts directly inspired by the energetic themes surrounding this Capricorn full moon. So as you journey through these prompts, you'll definitely be gaining a deeper understanding of what the themes are right now. But this Capricorn full moon is definitely the energy of checking in, right? We have hit the halfway point of the calendar year, which collectively we do vibe on. So this very much is that mid-year check-in where we are assessing our direction, right? We're assessing ourselves, our lives, and I encourage us to do these assessments from a place of non-judgment, right? Purely with the intention to ensure that we are headed in the direction of expansion, of really continuously and consistently stepping into our higher potentials and really honoring our growth, right? So as you journey through these prompts and as you journey through your assessments and contemplations and analyzations, etc., try your best to practice non-judgment, right? Try your best to not approach those assessments from a place of fear, from a place of worry or doubt or judging yourself. I am very much looking forward to sharing these 8 journaling prompts with you. There's more that I can share about this Capricorn full moon. This is definitely the time for us to be journaling, for us to be holding space for reflection, to be holding space to spend that quality time with ourselves, right? This is a very beautiful thing that you are doing. To be holding this space for yourself, to do some journaling, right? To do some conscious thinking. So thank you so much for being here. Now, without further ado, let's get into these 8 journaling prompts and explore the themes more. What familiarities am I being called to separate myself from? Right? There are familiarities that many of us have been coming to greater and greater understanding that it's time to no longer be so familiar with them, right? It's time to let these familiarities go. It's time to separate ourselves from all we've known, right? There are certain aspects of our lives where we've tended to stay there because it's comfortable, right? Because it feels safe subconsciously, because it is familiar. And we don't necessarily notice that we're doing this, right? It is, again, very subconscious, and it is in our human nature to desire to be in environments that feel safe, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it actually is safe, right? Or that it actually is benefiting us. So many of us have been confronted with coming to realize that, wait, I've been here for too long, right? Wait, I've gotten too comfortable here, right? Oh, this thing that I've chosen time and time again isn't serving me anymore. And it feels scary to leave this because it's familiar, and I am not super clear on what I'm necessarily, headed towards. But I do know that I need to leave this, right? I do know that I need to let this go. I do know that I need to separate myself from this familiarity. So what are those familiarities with you, right? And they could be relationships, they could be certain mindsets, they could be certain perspectives, they could be certain pursuits professionally or personally, they could be certain emotional embodiments that you've been carrying for too long. What are these familiarities for you that you know you are being called to separate yourself from? Where have I noticed the energies of rigidness and resistance? So, upon reflecting on your familiarities, right, and the ones that you feel called to separate yourself from, amidst those realizations that you've been arriving to, right, you may have also been realizing where you've been a bit rigid, where your life has been a bit stagnant, right? Where you have maybe felt some sort of resistance, because when we do receive those callings of needing to release something or someone or separate ourselves from someone or something, the energy of resistance does tend to come up, right? Especially if it is a familiarity of ours, especially if it is something that our subconscious has felt has been safe, right? So, where have you noticed the energies of rigidness in yourself and in your life? Where have you noticed yourself being a bit slow to make a decision on, slow to take an action on because you're a bit rigid in your ways, right? You're a bit rigid in how you think things should be. You're a bit rigid in fear, right? Fear of the unknown. Where are you noticing the energies of resistance, right? A lot of the times resistance and rigidness go hand in hand. So let's take a moment to hold space to really, really take notice of these energies and how they may have been taking up space in our lives and they may be holding us back. What have I had to summon up the courage to do and to be? So, as always, your girl is very intentional as to the order of which she shares these journaling prompts. And this prompt is very timely after the last two prompts because to separate ourselves and to notice the energies of resistance and rigidness does take courage, does take bravery. And all of these themes that we've been exploring so far really do go hand in hand with each other. So if you have really resonated with the first two prompts, I know that you resonate with this one. Where have you had to summon up the courage in your life, right? What have you had to summon up the courage to do, right? And most likely than not, you probably have had to summon up the courage to separate yourself from that thing, right? You've had to summon up the courage to no longer be rigid in certain ways, to no longer be resistant to certain things. What have you had to summon up the courage to be, right? We've also been confronted with a lot of subconscious, deeply rooted patterns and cycles that we're being called to change, that we're being called to no longer continue, and that calling is a calling for us to be different, right? To embody new ways, to be a new person, to renew ourselves. And that takes courage, right? To be a new you. So in what ways have you had to summon up the courage, right? What have you had to summon up the courage to do? What have you had to summon up the courage to be? And as you journal these prompts, I very much encourage you to hug yourself, to affirm yourself, to thank yourself, and to be very proud of yourself. What am I growing accepting of looking different than I expected? This is a huge theme and one that I've really observed within my own life, right? I've really observed myself arriving to this acceptance of things looking different than I initially expected, and really realizing how important it is that we are able to arrive to those acceptances, because that is just a part of life, right? It's so inevitable that things don't turn out the way that we expected, that things don't look the way that we thought that they would. And I know that this is a theme, that this is something that many of us are arriving to at this time, is almost feeling forced, right, to accept that this is turning out different than I thought, right? This is not unfolding the way that I expected. And I'm really hoping that all of us here are arriving to these acceptances from a place of like surrender and peace, right? And not arriving to these acceptances with like anger. And it's totally okay for us to feel so many different emotions when things don't turn out the way that we thought they would, and that, you know, things don't look the way that we thought that they would in our lives. But I'm really hoping that all of us here really realize that, and really choose the perspective and choose the approach in life where everything really is working out in our favor. Everything really is conspiring for our highest good. And so if something's looking different, if something is turning out different than we expected, than we thought, than we anticipated, us trusting that, you know what, this must be for my good, right? What I expected, had it turned out that way, it probably would have gone south. It probably wouldn't have been good for me in ways that I'm just simply not gonna know. So all of that said, where are you growing accepting of your life, right? Of certain situations, certain relationships, certain things just looking different than you expected them to, right? What are you growing accepting of certain people, places, things panning out differently than you expected? What have I felt I've needed less external validation for? I love this prompt because this is an energy at this time in this season where we really are coming home to ourselves in a way where what matters most is our internal validation. And some of you may be listening to this and be like, girl, I'm gonna keep it real. I'm still seeking external validation for certain things. But if you give it some thought, right? I really do feel like most of us, if not all of us here, right, who have been aligned to this video and to these prompts, there are certain things, right, where we used to really care, right? We used to really seek that external validation, but now things are different. Now we really don't care that much, right? We care significantly less than we used to about external validation, about the approval of other people for certain things that we do, that we are, right? Many of us have been going through lots of big changes in our lives in recent seasons, in recent years. And it's caused a lot of us in the collective to grow more caring of how we feel about the thing, right? Others may think some which way about this, but I feel good about this, and that's all that matters. I think a lot of us have been arriving to that attitude, to that energy, and I want us to acknowledge that because it's actually a very beautiful thing. So what have you felt you've needed less external validation for? What am I declaring be different in myself and in my life? This Capricorn full moon is coming with the energy of declaration, right? Reclamation, confirmation, affirmation. What are you declaring be different in yourself? What are you declaring be different in your life? make those declarations. I love the word declaration because we could also use affirm, right? What are you affirming be different in yourself? What are you affirming be different in your life? But declaring has a different energy to it, right? Declaring is like, nah, I'm not just affirming it, I'm declaring it. So what are you declaring be different in yourself, right? What are you declaring be different in your life? And a lot of what we've been contemplating in the recent prompts I've shared, and a lot of what we've been assessing just amongst this full moon really has us arriving to realizations that have us feeling like, nah, bro, like things need to be different, right? Like this ain't it. So what are you declaring be different in yourself and in your life? How would I describe the era of my life that I can feel is ending? If era feels a bit too grand, a bit too, you can use season, right? How would I describe the season of my life that I can feel is coming to an end? For me, it really does feel like an era, right? And it feels like a bit more prolonged, right? I think ever since like the end of my Saturn return, like your girl really thought like come the end of Saturn return, like overnight things were going to be different. Like I will have stepped into my new era, my new season, my new beginning. But it really is, there really is like this transitional period that more often than not takes longer than we think. Okay. And this full moon, speaking of transitionary periods, like this full moon, we are in that transitionary period. Many of us are, right? Where it's like, I know what I'm being pulled from, but I don't really know what I'm being pulled towards. And I'm just simply honoring the callings, right? I'm simply honoring the callings. I'm really being tested right now and trusting the unknown and practicing surrender. And it's a really beautiful thing, right? This is a really beautiful thing, and it really is bringing us closer to the divine, to trusting the mystery of life, to strengthening our faith. And this is a whole other conversation that we can get into. But how would you describe the era of your life that you feel is ending, right? Like, and as you describe this era, like I really encourage you to be as detailed and specific as possible. Like what was a part of this era? Like what habits were a part of this era? What version of yourself was a part of this era? What relationships, what perspectives, what pursuits, what experiences, what environments were a part of this era that are coming to an end? Describe the era, describe the season of your life that you know is ending and that you're transitioning out of. In what ways have I been reclaiming success? This is an interesting prompt, a prompt that I love. Honestly, I love all the prompts, but I really took a minute with this one and thought to myself, like, is this really the way that I want to word this? And I've come to the conclusion that yes, this is the way I want to word this prompt. In what ways have I been reclaiming success? And when you think of reclaiming, I really think of like, nah, bro, like I've been putting this off. I've been giving this away. I've been, having others define this and determine this for me, but I'm reclaiming it as mine, right? And I think what we're really reclaiming here is in large part the way in which we define success, right? For so long, we have defined success in this way that society has defined it, that culture has defined it. And I think a lot of us are arriving to the realizations of, no, like actually this isn't success, right? Or this isn't the entirety of success, right? We are reclaiming success in our redefining of success, in our reshaping our relationship with success, right? It's like, you know, many people would think that me making this decision is a reflection of me not succeeding, right? Me not fulfilling the role or the expectation that comes with what one would deem success. But actually, me making this decision does contribute to my success, right? Me making this decision actually is a successful thing for me, right? Really realizing that success can be a very nuanced, very kind of underlying tone to a lot of things, where the success may not be so outward facing, right? It can be very internal. It can be very private, very personal. So in what ways have you been reclaiming success? And if this is something you haven't really thought of before, I really encourage you to take a moment to think this one through, right? Like, wait, you know, like actually now that I think of it, like I have been redefining success. I have been healing my relationship with success. I have been changing my relationship with success. I have been reclaiming success in my life. So what has that reclamation been for you? And that, my friends, are the 8 journaling prompts that your girl is offering you for this Capricorn full moon, again taking place right after the summer solstice, which is so beautiful. This is one of my favorite lunations, the lunations that like just go hand in hand with a solstice or an equinox. Like I love those because they're very much like transitionary, transformative seasons in our lives. And I love contemplating and reflecting and assessing and journaling under them and through them. So thank you so much for being here, for bringing this offering into your present moment, for holding this space for yourself. It really is such a beautiful thing that you are doing, that you are making time for, that you're investing your energy in. So I thank you for that. And I pray that you're walking away feeling a lot more clear-minded and clear-hearted and comfortable and confident as you're journeying through whatever it is that you're journeying through. And just know that you are not alone and that I'm very proud of you. And I pray you feel very proud of yourself too. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you again for being here. Blessed Capricorn full moon and blessed season of summer. Bye, love.